Hello students of class 11. Today we are once again going to revise the chapter Leela's Friend. Now through this chapter the author has tried to show us many things. First is the beautiful friendship that developed between Leela and Siddha, then the social discrimination and other kind of superstitions that existed in the society or we might say it still exists in the society. Siddha was hanging about the gate at a moment when Mr. Sivsankar was standing in front of the veranda of his house, brooding over the servant problem. "Sir, do you want a servant?" Siddha asked. "Come in," said Mr. Sivsankar. As Siddha opened the gate and came in, Mr. Sivsankar subjected him to scrutiny and said to himself, "Doesn't seem to be a bad sort. At any rate, the fellow looks tidy." So, Siddha was also roaming round before the Mr. Sivsankar's house in search of a job, and Mr. Sivsankar was also in search of a servant. So Siddha asked that, "Sir, do you need a servant?" And immediately Mr. Sivsankar asked Siddha to come in and said that and when Siddha came in, he scrutinized him, means he took a very close look at Siddha from top to toe to make sure that this person can be recruited in that way. Now what was his feeling? He says that this fellow looks okay, like we can keep him as a servant. "Where were you before?" he asked. Siddha said, "In a bungalow there," and indicated a wake somewhere in the doctor's house. "What is his name?" "I don't know, master," Siddha said. "He lives near the market." "Why did they send you away?" "They left the town, master," Siddha said, giving the stock reply. So, as soon as Siddha came in, first Mr. Sivsankar looked at him very closely, and when he thought that he was kind of okay, he was not he was quite proper in his appearance, then he tried to do a background check to say that where did you live before, where is your master's house, and all the questions, and why did you leave the job. General questions were there, and Siddha gave a very usual reply in that way. Mr. Sivsankar was unable to make up his mind. He called his wife. He looked at Siddha and said, "He doesn't seem to be worse than the others we have had." Leela, their 5-year-old daughter, came out, looked at Siddha, and gave a cry of joy. "Oh, father," she said, "I like him. Don't send him away. Let us keep him in our house." And that decided it. So, Mr. and Mrs. Sivsankar, even when they saw Siddha, they were not very sure of whether to keep him or not. So when they were so indecisive, at that moment Leela, their 5-year-old daughter, came out, and as soon as she saw Siddha, she liked him, and she said that, "Father, why don't you keep him? I like him." And immediately Siddha was employed. Siddha was given 2 meals a day and 4 rupees a month, in return for which he washed clothes, tended the garden, looked after the garden, run errands. Errands means doing small jobs, chopped wood, and looked after Leela. "Siddha, come and play," Leela would cry, and Siddha had to drop any work he might be doing and run to her as she stood in front of the garden with a red ball in her hand. His company made her supremely happy. She flung the ball at him, and he flung it back. And then she said Now throw the ball into the sky. Siddha clutched the ball, closed his eyes for a second, and threw the ball up. When the ball came down again, he said, "Now this has touched the moon and come. You see here a little bit of moon sticking." So, Leela liked Siddha, and whenever Leela would call Siddha, no matter what Siddha was doing, Siddha had to drop everything and come and play with Leela. And Leela, what would she do? She would be, holding a red ball in her hand, and the moment she would see Siddha, she would just, throw it at Siddha, and Siddha would throw it back. As we play, catch with a ball, throwing it and throwing it back in that way. And and they would have fun in this way, and it was Siddha's company which made Leela very happy, supremely happy. Okay, so this adverb is very significant over here. And when Leela would say that now you throw the ball into the sky, so Siddha would just close his eyes and throw the ball in the sky. And when it came back, Siddha would say that now see, this ball had gone to the sky and touched the moon, and here you can see the moon sticking in it. I don't see it. Leela keenly examined the ball for traces of the moon and said, I don't see it. You must be very quick about it, said Siddha, because it will all evaporate and go back to the moon. Now hurry up. He covered the ball tightly with his fingers and allowed her to peep through a gap. So, when Siddha would say, see, now the ball has gone to the sky and it has touched the moon. And if you see the ball closely, you can still see the moon sticking on it. So Leela would say that, I don't see any moon sticking on it. And Siddha would say, no, you are too slow. You have to see it very fast, because the moon might evaporate, and because whatever is sticking to it, it will evaporate, means it will go away once again back to the moon. Now you should be very quick at it. And so he would clutch the ball tightly, hold the ball tightly, and through his fingers he would allow Siddha would allow Leela to take a peep at the allow her to peep through a little gap. So he would close the ball tightly and allow Leela to look through the gap. Ah, yes, said Leela, I see the moon. But is the moon very wet? So Leela would say that, yes, I see there is the moon, but it looks wet. Is the moon wet? Certainly it is, Siddha said. What is in the sky, Siddha? God, he said. So Leela asked, what is there in the sky? So Siddha would say, God is there in the sky. If we stand on the roof and stretch our arms, can we touch the sky? Not if we stand on the roof here, he said, but if you stand on a coconut tree, you can touch the sky. So Siddha said that Leela asked that, can we touch the moon if we stand on this roof? So Siddha said that maybe, if you stand on the roof, you can't do it. But if you stand on top of a coconut tree, you can touch the sky. Okay, we stop here today. We'll do the rest of the chapter in the next class. Thank you.